Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Welcome to the show. Whether you're watching our podcast live, or if you're listening later on, or even if you're watching it later on YouTube, we're so glad that you've decided to join us tonight.
Yes, we are. A couple things. Voice of Indie podcast tonight. Paul Hollis is on, and he'll be on at 8 o'clock after our show. There's a little buffer of time before he'll actually be on, so you can stay with us until the show comes on and then pop over there. Next week will be Caleb Pirtle, and that's Beam Weeks and Gary G's. I think we have a little banner for that we could show, but what's the matter?
They're muted.
Oh, I think they did that.
Oh,
So let's see here what we got here. Let's do that. There we go, right there. There's Paul's face right there. Hello, Paul.
a lot of you have heard his voice and
There
probably
you go.
seen his face if you watch the times he's been on the show.
There you go.
But we're really excited about that. We're really happy to
And
have him
we
here.
want to remind everybody, episode rewind on Saturday, this July 23rd, 5:30 p.m. right here where you're watching right now. Episode 34 is Adam Gaffin.
Yeah, it's a repeat of that show. C.W. Hawes says, "Hi, Rob and Joan. Happy Wednesday."
Hello.
Happy Wednesday to you too, C.W. C.W. also says, "Like the hat, Rob." Yeah, well,
Thank you, partner.
he just likes dressing up like a cowboy when
Well, when we're
anybody
in
from
Texas,
Texas is on.
yeah, we're in Texas. Do as the Texas people do, right?
Paul Brown says, "Watching all the way from Sydney." Welcome, Paul. We're glad
Hey.
to have you in the
Hi,
audience.
Paul.
Feel free to comment and ask questions and whatever. He says, "Hi back, Robert White."
Hey, Robert.
Robert, he's watching
way
also
down under.
from Australia. Yes, glad to have you here, Robert. Good to see you. How have you been? Linda Pirtle
Hey,
says,
Linda.
"Glad to see everyone." Yes, we mentioned that Paul Hollis is going to be on Indy
Mm-hmm.
right after us, and next week it's going to be Linda's lovely husband Caleb will
That's
be their
right.
guest.
That's right.
Marjorie Daring
Marjorie's
says,
joining us.
"Hello,
Hi, Marjorie.
glad to have you here, Marjorie, as always." Yes.
And I wanted to start us out with some words from Caleb. And it's about his group of authors, all the authors here that are making up this Magnolia Bluff series. Once upon a time, they all took a chance on living for a while in a mythical little Texas town known as Magnolia Bluff. You'll be surprised to find out what deadly secrets are hidden away in places where you'd never expect them to be. Magnolia Bluff is a wonderful hill country town to visit for a spell, but I don't think you'd want to stay around very long. Strange things go on in Magnolia Bluff.
It's like we say about Midsummers, and we wouldn't ever want to live there.
Boy, that's for sure, right?
Linnea Tanner's on. Hi, all.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi,
Robert
Linnea.
says he's good, chilly, and wet. Yes, it's your
Yeah, you guys are
winter
getting some rain
during
down
our
there, aren't
summer.
you?
Yeah. Paul Hollis says, "Hi, everyone." Hi, Paul. We're all going to be watching you. We'll hop on to Beam and Steve's show after ours is done, and we'll give you a hard time.
That's right.
No. We'll ask you questions,
no one give him
though.
a hard time. About as much as he gives us. I mean, you know.
He doesn't, though.
No,
That's
he
the
doesn't
thing.
really. I'm just kidding.
Joe Conchal, that's different.
Yeah, Joe. Now, Joe's another character. That's right. So we want to. We have three authors tonight from the Magnolia Bluff series, book 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to bring them on board right now. Come on in, you guys. Hello, Richard,
Hello.
Jim, and
Oh.
Charles and Rox.
Hello.
Howdy.
How are you all doing tonight?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very
Roxy
good.
very
Very
good here. I don't know how she did it, but good for her.
You parachuted out of an airplane right over their house.
I think
landed
so.
in the backyard.
I did. It was perfect.
Glad you could make it.
Sam Thomas says, hello all. Hi, Sam.
Now, the first book we want to talk about is book number 4.
All right.
And we'll take these in order here. Book 4 is James R. Callan. James, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. Very good.
Your book is titled You Won't Know How, ... or When. It's now available for pre-order. The launch date is Friday. Is that correct?
That's right. This Friday, 2 days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And
Well, let me first mention about this book cover, though. You won't know how or when. That's scary. That's,
that is.
I mean, I'm sure you meant it to be scary, but it is very ominous. You've got
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
CW says, howdy, Richard Jim rocks in Charles. And
CW.
Sam Thomas says, Linda Purtle, hello, how are you? Go ahead, Jim. Tell us a little bit about that book without giving too much away.
Okay. I won't give too much away. This is the 4th book in this series, the Magnolia Bluff series. However, it is also the 4th book in the Father Frank mystery series. So Father Frank comes down to visit Magnolia Bluff. And things don't go well. The very first day he's there, someone says to him, I'm going to kill you. And the way it's said to him, he's convinced the man really means it. So that's the way it began. That's the way his vacation begins. He's taking his first vacation in 4 years, and that's how it starts. And he's a little bit concerned about it, but he's not too worried until he realizes that it involves not just him, but someone else in danger. And he has to figure out what to do about it. Now, the problem is the man says it to him in the confessional. Father Frank is a priest.
Oh.
He hears it in confession, and he can't tell anybody.
Dun, dun, dun. That's the dilemma of being a Roman Catholic priest.
Can't tell the police, can't tell the other person that's probably in danger. And he's brand new to Magnolia Bluff. He's just come here on vacation, first day. He doesn't know the town. He doesn't know the people. And he hasn't a single clue as to who might be making this threat.
Wow, that's really good. That's a good premise.
No kidding.
So his vacation is going to be mostly trying to keep people from getting killed, himself included, and find out who is doing it and handle it.
That's really cool.
So that's the premise of it, and basically the thrust of the book, that how can he protect people and find out who it is in a town where he doesn't know anybody.
That would be tough.
So now that makes more sense. You won't know how or when. That's obviously the threat of the person in the confessional.
Well, the man says to him, well, it's in the confessional. You can't tell anybody. That's good. But then he says, but better yet, you have no idea how.
That's very scary.
And then after a while, and a sinister laugh and so forth, he says, no, the best thing is you don't know when. So you're going to have to worry about it every minute. It could be tonight, could be tomorrow, could be 4 or 5 days, but not too long. Not going to let you live too long. So that's the buildup for it. And that's the pressure that he's under for his vacation. So,
wow.
Okay.
I, of course, interact with the other characters in Magnolia Bluff from their books.
Good.
In fact, one of Richard's characters is an important person in my book. Very important person in the resolving things. And Caleb's book I have some of the characters who are in Caleb's book. However, I had a couple of characters from Caleb's book, and then Caleb's book came out, and one of them was now gone.
Uh-oh.
So
Whoops.
I, fortunately, while the person was in several scenes in my book, wasn't critical. I could change the name and go on.
There you go.
You know, so one of the things that we did, the group that write these books, there are 9 of us. Well, 10 if you count Rox and Charles as 2 different, but one book.
I think they're each an individual.
But one book. But the
But
point
one
is that they've been very good about sharing biographies of their characters and telling us things about the town and the events and the stores, so we can blend that in. And if you're going through the series of these books, you're really going to know Magnolia Bluff.
Absolutely.
And you're going to know a lot of the characters in it.
Absolutely.
And so, but they've been very good in telling people if they kill somebody off, they let us know. If you're
Good.
planning on using John, he's gone. Try someone else. So
I want to go there. I want to go to the really good wood-fired coffee shop.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly? I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
And that's an important place in my book as well.
Yeah, and the
Just-
silver spoon.
Just a minute. Let me get some of these comments up. Mickey Mickelson says, hello, everyone.
Hello, Mickey.
Hello, Mickey. Caleb said, do those faces belong to the authors or the villains in Magnolia Bluff?
Ah,
We'll see.
Oh,
CW
both.
says it is a fab book concerning your book. And Betty Gilbert says, hello,
Hello,
hello. Joe Conjul is in the house, which, you missed me saying that we would give you a hard time on another podcast, but not Paul. Joe Conjul says, hi, everyone. Is there an issue with the Facebook link? Can't get in that way. I
Haven't heard
I
anything.
don't know, Joe.
You're
but
the first one,
But
but
we've-
I wouldn't be surprised.
we've often had trouble. People have often had trouble
Yeah.
with the Facebook link. So Linnea Tanner has a question. Does the father know who is in the confessional, or is he a stranger?
Does not know him.
Doesn't know
In
him
fact,
because
Yeah,
father's just visiting town. Yeah.
that's right. So he
Yeah.
doesn't know.
Yeah.
He, of course, is tempted when the person leaves to go out and see who it is. And suddenly he realizes, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So he doesn't
Not with
know.
good conscience. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope. Not if he wants to remain in good standing.
that's
Caleb
right.
says, welcome to Magnolia Bluff. I hope all of you wore your bulletproof vests. Yeah.
Good
The
thing
way I
to do.
feel about Magnolia Bluff, for sure. Sam Thomas says he shared out everywhere, so you'll know that he did. Sam also says, Linda Pirtle, hey, don't question that. Linda said, I'm thankful Magnolia Bluff is a small town. Population decreases with each new book.
Except you're inviting your readers to go there is the only problem.
Robert White has a good question. He says, I wonder how ghost hunting would go in Magnolia Bluff.
Ah,
You know,
Actually-
Robert, that's what we do. I think that we have one, maybe 2 paranormal books. I think maybe Cindy's book touches on
I
that.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Cindy has a ghost in hers.
Yep. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's really cool. Linda Pirtle's on Facebook, so
Yeah.
she got on.
Sam's on. Yeah.
Sam wants to know, Linda, do you write? Yes, I'm reading one of her books.
George got on, it looks like.
Oh, Sam says I'm a she. She gets that all the time.
Sorry,
Robert
Sam.
Wife says Sister City of Cabot Cove.
Yeah.
George
I think so.
Muke says just arrived, rode hard and put away wet, but here.
And where does Father Frank come from?
Well, he's normally stationed in Northeast Texas in a small town.
Oh, that's where he
He's
normally
a
is.
Texan.
Yeah.
So he's not like from England or something like
No,
Father
no.
Brown. Okay.
No, and as I said, he's actually, this is the 4th book I've had with Father Frank in it.
4. Okay.
And he manages to get in trouble in each one. Sometimes it's a parishioner who's maybe killed or something. So he sort of gets sucked into them. All of my books, of course, really come from the news. If one reads the news, you have plenty of ideas for books. And each of the books I have come from a news item of some sort. So if one reads or listens to the news, there are lots of murder mysteries going on.
Boy, that's for sure. Every day, more than we want. That's for
Joe
sure.
Conjal says the first 3 books are excellent. Looking forward to these next 3. And speaking of that, by the way, why don't we bring up Jim's contact information here, because we'll be doing a book giveaway in a little bit.
Yes.
It's James Callan. Website is jamesrcallan.com. JAMESRCALLAN. Those of you that are tuning in for the first time, I have to spell those out because by tomorrow this will be also going out to all of the podcast sites as a podcast, not a vodcast. You can email him at jamesrcallan@gmail.com.
Let's go ahead and do the book giveaway.
All right, let's go ahead and do that book giveaway then.
And are you ready, everybody? Here's the first book giveaway. The first 3 people to email jamesrcallan@gmail.com will win an ebook copy of You Won't Know Where or When.
And now we know why.
Yep. So,
Yes.
well, we can
And that is available now, so they could be sent out tomorrow.
oh, the ebooks are ready. Okay.
Yes, the ebooks are
Okay,
ready.
that's awesome. Good to
Okay.
know. Good to know.
Yep. You can
But if you want-
pre-order. People can pre-order your book if they want to, and then on Friday they can actually buy it. Correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's see.
And it will
Linda
be
said-
available in digital, in paperback, and audio, but audio will be a month or so down the road.
Right.
It takes a while to format all that and everything.
Yes.
Linda Pirtle says, "Don't get too comfortable, George. These authors are lethal." George says, "Hello, Linda and Caleb. Thanks for the spotlight." Oh, yeah, they're very generous with that. Sam Thomas says, H.H. Holmes, what are your views on him? And Sam is a girl, by the way. She wants you to know. Everybody always confuses her with the him.
So is that a question for James?
Yes.
H.H. Holmes.
I don't really have a view.
No view.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll never be. Okay. All right. So let's see. What else do we want to?
I think that, Jim, you wanted to tell us a little bit about your other books, right?
Yeah, that's right. That was the other thing.
Well, I came into writing a little bit late, but I have about 15 books that are published and out. 2 series, the Father Frank series, which I will have to brag on, has hundreds of rave reviews on it. It's really gotten great reviews. I have a suspense series called the Crystal Moore Suspense Books, and those have actually won more awards. They've been quite well received in that respect. I write a few standalone books. I have 4 or 5 nonfiction books, including 2 that are on the craft of writing, which actually were requested by a publisher that I write a book on this phase of writing because they thought they liked my characters very well, so they wanted me to write one on characters, and then they liked my dialogue and they wanted me to write one on dialogue. And so I did that. So I have a few nonfiction books, but mostly they are fiction books, mostly in the mystery or suspense genre. Almost all of them taken from some newspaper article or something. I read a 3-paragraph article in the LA Times one year, and it ultimately became a 95,000 word book.
Well,
just
good
based
for
on that.
you.
It was, well, I read it and I couldn't believe it. And I started doing some search. It talked, And after I did the research, I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And I proposed it to an editor. And she said, that's great, but you have to do it as a nonfiction book. And I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But the more I thought about it, I thought I would never do the nonfiction book. It would be too emotional for me. I would never be able to finish it. And then I finally decided I can do it as a fiction book. This, by the way, had to do with a problem that we have more growing all the time of people being brought into the United States and becoming essentially slaves. And in fact, one of the things that I read in researching this was that there are more actual slaves in the United States now than there were 100 years ago, but they just don't have chains on now. They have threats to their family left in another country or to themselves. And so that became one called a silver medallion, but I could write it as a fiction book because I was somewhat removed from the reality of it. Well, this is fiction. So all the books come from something I've seen on the news or read about or something.
It's a great resource, that's for sure.
It is, no doubt about it.
Sam says, that was the best answer to all my questions anywhere. You're honest, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Joe
I
Concho
appreciate it.
said, I pre-ordered James's book. It was a great deal at just 99 cents.
There you go.
Yes,
Betty says, she sent her request for her book from her friend James. She already signed up for a free ebook, so
good.
You better get typing.
Yeah, and we got 2 more giveaways.
Robert White says, here's an idea for one of your books. Just an idea. Father Frank, prepare to meet your maker.
That's a good one.
Very good. And I always feel free to use any of these suggestions that are given to me.
There you go.
Absolutely. They gave them to you, didn't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we need to take a break and hear from our sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll be right back.
We'll
Don't
be back.
go away.
And when we come back, we'll be talking with Richard. And so get ready, Richard. Oh, I did want to do this one more thing here. In our store, indieBooksource.com, there's these. We have a Magnolia Bluff page with, well, a section on the store page where you can get Magnolia Bluff. There's merchandise. I Survived May 23rd in Magnolia Bluff, Texas. And here's another one with the logo background, but I Survived May 23rd. May 23rd is fairly important. And the other one is just the plain logo of Welcome to Magnolia Bluff.
I will comment, I've already ordered some of the mugs with my cover on it. That's very nice.
That's awesome.
It's a pretty one, isn't it?
So anybody that's interested, go there. The first 3 books also have their merchandise out there already. So, and the others will be following. So let's go. Oops. We're really going to go to commercial. We really are. Here we go. Ready?
We'll be back.
They thought the siren was dead. In the novel Siren Song by author George Dismukes, James Harmon shot her twice. Several people saw her dead body sinking slowly into the abyss. But now, in Siren Song 2, evidence suggests that she may still be alive.
She killed that boatload of people. It was her! And she's just getting started!
Angie, that's impossible.
The cold chill up my spine tells me it's not impossible. We've got to start all over again. And this time, do it right.
Siren Song 2. The story continues. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Get your copy today.
At Indie Book Source, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today. I just want to thank George Dismuke since we just ran that commercial. He's one of our sponsors. Here's Siren Song 2. He sent us an autographed book, and I've started reading it. I already read Siren Song, the original, and it's really good. And for those of you who don't know, it's being made into a movie right now. Even as we speak, they're starting pre-production.
Right. And I would be reading it, but I'm reading this and I'm halfway through and I'm not a very fast reader. So, but really I'm stuck in Magnolia Bluff. So anything happens to me while we're on the air, let me know. Okay? Well, no, don't let me know. Let somebody else know.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, you're up next.
Good evening.
Book number 6
Hi.
is the one that you've written. And that would be The Shine from a Girl in the Lake. That doesn't sound very good.
The Shine from a Girl in the Lake.
Must be from her eyes.
It's actually from a ring. It's
ring,
that,
okay.
that little bright thing. That's how they
They're
found her.
floating in there with the eye shine.
There wouldn't be any eye shine if she
No, I
were
suppose
dead.
not if she was dead. Yeah.
She's not an animal, so there wouldn't
Don't
be
listen
any
to me. Go
eye
ahead,
shine.
Richard.
She's unfortunately in Burnett Reservoir, which is just on the one side of Magnolia Bluff. And Burnett College, where my protagonist works, is on the one side. And the marina, which is owned by a judge, is on the other. And Magnolia Bluff is in between. So she finds her way, unfortunately, to the marina where she's found by the judge, who's an older man and has to haul her in himself. So that's, kind of a grim start, but we're dealing with a serial killer here. So it's got a grim side to it.
That's very interesting. Now, yours is not based on any characters that you've had running in other books. This is strictly for this series, your protagonist.
Yeah, I've used a lot of the characters of my colleagues in the Magnolia Bluffs crime fiction group, and I've used one of James' characters, for example, and he's played a piece in my book and been very helpful. My character is Dr. Michael Kurelek, who's a clinical psychologist. He teaches at the college and he has an office where he works there. And Mike is a very gifted guy. He's brilliant, athletic, handsome, and he has also fled Michigan, where he's from. He's a bow hunter, probably a borderline alcoholic, and feeling very alone in Magnolia Bluff. His closest friend is a 72-year-old Vietnam veteran named Jack Rice, who's a double amputee. And despite their differences, they're very, very close friends, and they share a lot. So Michael is very emotional, very sensitive. And when he gets thrust into these murders, he is both horrified by what he's witnessing and very determined to find a way of ending the murders, which means, of course, catching the killer.
Caleb says, Richard is one of the most inventive writers I've ever read. He comes at stories on an entirely different highway. And I imagine that's because you're a psychoanalyst, so
Well,
you're thinking deep.
Well, or potentially I'm just a little weird, but there tends to be a lot of humor in my book, a lot of outside the box stuff. Not as much in this one. This, in a lot of ways, is one of the most straight up, down the middle mysteries that I've written, and I want it to be character driven and place driven. And considering I've never set foot in Texas, the last piece is tricky. But I have my colleagues helping me, and there's lots of videos, and I've read a lot about hill country, so I've obviously got a good imagination as well. So I'm hoping that my take on Magnolia Bluff I know in advance, none of our books are going to be very much the same in some ways. We're going to create something that's greater than some of its parts, but all of us write very differently. So my book will be different than James, will be different than Rock's and Charles, will be different than Caleb's, will be different than CW's, Sydney's, etc. So but I think at the end, there's going to be something that is outside of all of us that Magnolia Bluff represents, aside from an unsafe place for Rob.
Well, now I know that.
Yeah. Well, also, if you get a hat, it will help you get into the character more.
I might do that.
Yeah, you should go get one. Yeah.
Now, Jim is using a protagonist from his other series, and so what I was wondering is your protagonist from other series that you've written apart from the Magnolia Bluff, or did you create this protagonist strictly for Magnolia Bluff?
This one is created strictly for Magnolia Bluff, and I'm hoping it'll be the start of a new series. And so a few of my characters before have been social workers and therapists, but this fellow is a clinical psychologist. And I'm really hoping that he kind of takes off and the character comes to life on its own.
Yeah, so The Shine from a Girl in the Lake is book 6, so it's not releasing until the middle of September, about September 20th, right around there.
Yeah.
You're planning on having it available for pre-order, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure when exactly I'm going to do that. I'm pretty much ready to do it now, so probably very soon. Yeah, it'll be ready for pre-order.
Okay, that's cool. So anybody that enters the contest tonight to win the book will have to wait for it, obviously, until the ebook is ready.
So Joe Conjal says the fact that you all write differently is one of the most appealing things about this series, and he's read 3 of them already, so he knows whereof he speaks.
You're a fast reader, Joe. I'll tell you what.
He's a prolific reader and writer. So
both. Yes.
Yep. But yeah, I think that what has always fascinated me about this whole series is the idea I thought was brilliant. And then the fact that you're going to get a well-rounded view of Magnolia Bluff, because you will be seeing it from different people's perspectives. All these different characters and the way you all write differently. And it'll be just like getting to know a real little town, because everyone thinks differently. Everybody has a different perspective on everything. And in our neighborhood, you could go down the street and ask everybody the same question and get, 10 different views. And so that's really exciting to me about this whole series. It'll be like really getting to know a small town.
One of the interesting things as well is most of the stories, not all of them, but I think most of them have had outsiders in some way as protagonists. They either have just come to Magnolia Bluff or they're relatively recent arrivals. So they bring their fresh perspective to the town around them. And that allows for a fair bit of creativity. I had a very funny question from a friend of mine when I told him about the series. He said, "Which one of you is the continuity editor?" And my thought was that would be like herding a group of particularly talented cats, to have something, especially from this group, that is uniform. And I don't think that was ever the point. I think the point was an organic, creative, multi-input community. It's
certainly coming together. It's awesome.
Now,
that's for sure.
If you want to reach Richard, you can reach him here. His website is Richard SCHWINT. Let me spell that at .ca because he's a Canadian, eh?
Okay.
Okay.
We
we overdid it.
Yeah.
RICHARDSHWINDT. Okay. That's Richard's. And his email, and this is important for the book giveaway, his email is rgschwint@gmail.com. Okay? Now, shall we do the book giveaway?
We'll do the book giveaway. Yeah. And remember, you won't get it right away, but be ready to read it when it comes out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So here it is. All right. The first 3 people to email rgschwindt@gmail.com will win an ebook copy of The Shine from a Girl in the Lake.
And I believe that Sam had a question. Is there a ready, set, go to email, or your announcement was it? It was, the announcement was it. So ready, set, go.
Okay, go.
You can now go to Richard's, and you can still go to Jim's. And George says, you can't overdo it when you're talking about the hosers from Canada.
Oh, boy.
George is in the house.
Yeah, I think so. So
You're welcome, Sam.
how about your other books? You want to talk a little bit about your other books that you have available?
I have a self-help series, professional, called Emotional Recovery From, with a lot of different topics on marriage, family, psychology, workplace issues. I have a couple of books of humor. It could be said all my books are books of humor, but I have a couple that are specifically humorous. And I've just brought all my other fiction into one series. But basically it's composed of what they call the Death and Sioux Lookout trilogy, which is set in 3 books in Sioux Lookout, Ontario, which is in remote northwestern Ontario, and Tony Price Confidential, which is about paranormal investigator, social worker who finds himself fighting various monsters in various places. So Tony and Chris eventually become friends, and they're very much oil and water. So I've had a lot of fun writing this stuff, and it does go off in some very unexpected directions at times, which I think Caleb, of all people, has noticed very acutely when he's read them. But it's mostly pretty fun stuff. The new book, The Shine from the Girl in the Lake, in a lot of ways goes back to the very first in the series. Death and Sioux Lookout is a very dark book in its own way, and it has a lot of deaths in it. So in a way, with this book in Magnolia Bluff, it's allowed me to come full circle. So I'm happy to be part of this. This is a terrific group of writers to work with, and incredibly talented. In a way, the thrill of writing this book is that I felt very much like I had to up my game as high as I could, because I didn't want to be the one writing the lesser book. And I don't think that was ever on the table. But again, when you're writing with quality writers like this, you want to do a work of quality. It just feels like the right thing.
CW says they are great books, your books.
Thanks, CW.
Yeah. So that's really great. And I'm really excited about this whole series, and I think it's going to be really popular, and it's going to be a really good thing.
I think some streaming service should pick it up and make it into a series.
I do too. Except now we're seeing how much
we agree,
George.
Yeah,
you maybe don't want to do.
Yeah, I don't know whether you want to do it or not, but I think it would be awesome. Got to get somebody to do the screenwriting and all that first.
It's exhausting.
For sure.
Just everything George is having to do for pre-production for the movie. It's exhausting.
Well, guess what? It's time, speaking of sponsors, to make them happy. And so we're going to take another little break. We'll come back with Charles and Rox when we get done with this. So here we go. Stay where you're at.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book 1 of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
And we're back.
And
Which
as
means
we
he doesn't
said,
have to actually
Paul
buy them
Hollis will
himself.
be
He give them to
on,
them.
just
Puts it up on
as we
info.
said, Paul Hollis will be on that show right after ours. And then next week it'll be Caleb. Anyway, hello, Rox and Charles. How are you doing tonight?
Awesome. Thanks, Joan. Rob, nice to see you.
We appreciated just sliding into home tonight.
Hey, it's all about being there, you know,
You
on
didn't even
time.
get to go through McDonald's or anything, did you?
Nope, but it was
Man.
okay.
You want to eat a sandwich while you're at it? We can wait a minute.
No, I'm good.
That's what the
Caleb?
commercial. I mean, she grazed while you were doing the commercial thing.
Oh, okay. All right. No problem then.
Caleb says Charles and Rox are real magicians. They write techno thrillers and are now writing about a town where people use their computers solely to play solitaire. He does that. He uses his computer for a lot more, but I do too.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Come to think of it.
Yep.
When I want to do something mindless, I definitely do play solitaire. So Mickey Mickelson did say, go Canada. So we had a tip of the hat to you, Richard, because
There we go.
we'd kind of been making fun of you. Anyway, can you want to tell us a little bit about your book? I'll bring up the brand right now.
So I think I'll start it out, Joan, and then Charles will probably add in. So this is called the Flower Enigma. And on the image of the cover, there's this wonderful yellow building with all these flowers in the background. That actually is the town's bed and breakfast. It's called Flower B&B. And so that's what the setting is for this particular story. So we have two characters that come from Brazil and decide they want to vacation in Magnolia Bluff. And so one of those characters is JJ Rodriguez, and he actually he's a techno geek. And his girlfriend, Jo Wagner, is coming a little bit incognito to this venue. She's actually a top high fashion model, but they're sneaking into Magnolia Bluff just to kind of reconnect, find their relationship. And as they settle into the town and finally get to the bed and breakfast where they want to check in, they park and admire the flowers and then walk around the building, and there is an enormous crowd of people. And those people are all waiting for the podcast to begin. Podcast is the local gossipers have decided that Mateo Hernandez, who recently moved to town, built a huge wall around his property, and it's not just to hide his cows.
So a lot of the background. It's a lot like some of the other authors that we're working with. It's I need to get away. I need to decompress. I need to push aside all of my work environment and just go someplace that's low key, laid back. I'm not going to be stressed. And they step right into the maelstrom.
The murder village.
Well, what happens? What happens when they check in? Come on now.
All right,
Go ahead and tease them a little bit.
All right. So he's like, I don't want to work. I've got my lady with me. I need a bottle of wine, and we need to go decompress. We decompress. It's a big word around here. And so they start upstairs, and the podcast gets derailed. It is hacked by a cyber attack, and the podcasters are like dumbfounded. What do we do? I mean, this is unconscionable. We have, and of course, all of the little businesses around the Magnolia Bluff are paying to have the podcast hosted there because it brings business. It's good business, and so to have it derailed means that they're going to suffer. So JJ's like, he's torn. Like, I need to go upstairs, and his lady goes, "All right, it's all right, it's all right. I know you're torn. We can't go upstairs because you'd be thinking about the podcast being derailed. Go help them." And so it goes.
And so while he's helping these wonderful gossipy biddies, which do come from characters from the rest of the esteemed authors in this group, his girlfriend Joe looks out the window and spots this girl, and this girl is giving the international sign for help.
Oh.
And that touches Joe in a very special way, and she's now sweeping herself into the problem. As JJ goes after the hackers, she's wanting to find this girl and wanting to find out what the problem is. And so it begins.
Yeah. So the fun part about this is, and we've already alluded to it already, some of the characters that we want to borrow from some of the other authors, there was a cadence there that we weren't quite comfortable with at first for all of us, because we'd say, I want to use this character from James's book. I want to use this character from Cindy's book, this one from CW's, and we started getting notes back there. Please don't use that one. They get whacked. This one's in jail. This is on the run from the police. So we're like, okay, let's rethink this. So we had to do some tightening on the story. But I got to think about this morning. It's really, this is such a great experiment, because it's like going over to your friend's house to cook a meal that they know how to do, and you want their perspective on the recipe, and you're like, okay, let me see if I can't go back and recreate this recipe. Can I borrow some of your stuff and their tools and condiments? And you go back and you build something that looks completely different, but it has the same kind of flavoring that your compadre had. And so that's what I feel like with the dealing with these other authors. They're like, oh, what a great idea! I can use that. And we actually had one of the other authors, Kelly Marshall, from coming in behind us, saying, "I want to use your character. Give me some stuff." So we sent her the whole book, and she's like jazzed by it. And so what we got back, he said, "Here's what I had in mind." I'm like, "Oh, that was so sweet. The way that she treated the characters that we had dropped in to this the show for our particular book was so intoxicating to see them pick up characters and thought processes and build yet another iteration for a story that was a great experience."
That's
awesome.
wonderful.
That's awesome.
That's really great.
Now, The Flower Enigma, that's book 5.
Correct.
And it's now available for pre-order, I understand, right?
It is. It certainly is.
But the release date isn't going to be until August 21st.
August 20th is when
20th.
it's
August
scheduled.
20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So it is on the 99-cent ebook pre-order right now. So it's a great time to get that bargain.
Great deal. We're going to have a giveaway in a few minutes. Well, let's go ahead and do
Hey,
the giveaway.
Sam, before you leave, Sam just said, be right back. I think what we'll do is we'll put up everybody's email at the end of the show so that people can go ahead and enter the contest to win a book.
Right, and we're going to go ahead and do your book giveaway now as well. First, we're going to tell people how to reach you. They can always contact you at www.enigmabookseries.com. That's ENIGMABOOK series, the word series, SERIES.com. I don't do that as well as you do. You do a great job. You do it from now on. I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay, and here's the email. Would you like to give the email?
Their email is authors@enigmaseries.com, and that's ENIGMASERIES. So
That's so much better. Thank you. And here's the book giveaway. The first 3 people to email. Whoop, I got the wrong one. Sorry. I didn't do that, did I?
Yeah, you did.
A little soft shoe going on. That's good.
The first 3 people.
Well, if you let me do my job.
To email authors@enigmaseries.com will win an ebook copy of The Flower Enigma when it comes out.
Yes. And like I said, at the end of the show, we'll run everybody's email again. So
right.
You can then.
So for the Sam person, just so she knows, in my youth, I used to work with a lady also called Sam. The reason she was called Sam was because she had a very fiery temper, and that was her nickname, Surface Air Missile. So.
Oh, my.
That's really funny. The sad thing is that my nickname probably should have been Sam when I was younger.
Oh, is that what we need to call you on the side, Joan? It's just, Joan Sam?
No, I am really, by now, that's all been beaten out of me by life. But I used to have quite the temper. I was a redhead. I'm going to blame it on that. Linnea Tanner says, what a unique idea about borrowing characters from other books.
It is. That's what makes it cool.
They had to do that in order to make this about Magnolia Bluff. They had to make it all come together.
Weaving together.
I just think it's a brilliant concept.
What I've read so far is awesome, because it's great to see the characters again, after you finish them in one book and see them popping up in another book. It's awesome.
I love Joe's question.
Yeah.
Bill Conchel says, and this is something people have asked before. So will there be a round 2 where you all write a second book in the series next year? Or are you each going to start or continue your own series with your Magnolia Bluff protagonists? That's a really good question.
Yes.
It is. And from our perspective, to answer it, and we'll let Richard and Jim chime in, but from our perspective, we have signed up for round 2. It will include some of our characters. It's also going to include more killing.
Will there be anyone left in Magnolia Bluff?
No.
The counter on the sign outside front, it doesn't go up, it goes down. Okay.
It goes down. Good thing there's only one May 23rd anyway. But,
yeah.
We got an email from Linda today with 3 new characters to help repopulate the town.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. I think round 2 is going to be even more interesting because we'll have that much more background on the town and all the people and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, and we'll get to reread all the survivors.
That's got to be one of the titles, Joan. That's really good. I mean, we're not going to go there, but the survivors might be a really good.
George Dismuke says re-characterization instead of reincarnation. Very clever.
Yeah.
And Amy says, whoop, whoop. She's happy that there's going to be a round 2.
That is good.
I think we all are happy that there's going to be a round 2. We're just really excited to read them all, and it's
funny when Caleb, the lead renegade for the Underground Authors,
yes,
calculated this originally. Some backstory on this. He started off and he goes, "Hey, you folks are the it's like a broadcast among his constituents." He said, "Here's a picture." He put up this picture of this boat and said, "Who wants to write a story about this? Just a chapter, just a nice short story, and then we'll aggregate it and put it into a short story, an anthology." We love that kind of routine, and so that's where we get started. We got hooked on this concept of take an image, and we got 12 different stories out of that, off that one boat picture. And we got just a little puddle thing that we saw, and it was so inviting. Like, and then we started, kicking around the idea of, what if we had a larger item to look at, and that's where the Magnolia Bluff came from. So here's the city. We're sprinkling some basic characters. Okay, we need a policeman. We need a couple of whatevers. And as they say in the big city, the project grew legs and took off.
Well, and CW really came up with the idea of trying to form this kind of a approach, and then it was a collective discussion between all of us as far as getting it framed up and that kind of thing. But I think it was Richard that mentioned earlier, using some of the other characters has been very interesting. I know that we have one of CW's characters, we have one of Cindy's characters, and we do try and do a better job now, after a few books have been written, of alerting people to who the characters are, what they do, what their personalities are. And it's been fun.
It has been. It became a very interesting exercise, and it seems to be gathering steam and really polishing itself up as we go along. So I'm anxious to read what some of the other folks are doing with the characters and the topics that come through. And we got so jazzed, we started sketching out the book for next year.
And Roxy, didn't you do the maps for the town?
So we have one of the maps that's actually in our ebook. So when you see of course it's in an ebook, so it's in color. But yeah, one of the maps is in there. So kind of it doesn't show every single business, but it starts giving that frame of reference to this small town. And I hope to update it with a few other, points of interest that have come up in the other books. And we also have an array that we started when we added all the covers, so people can see the different covers that are coming out. And I mean, it's so interesting. Everybody's such a great individual, talented authors, and imagination that goes crazy, right, Jim?
Yes, and even the covers, it's nice because they have a theme that carries through all of them, but they're each individual.
But they're different.
Yeah. It's like the books. We've got this, but they're all individual, but they have a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same places, a lot of the same events.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, here's Cindy's cover.
Goodness.
It's a little different than the other ones, but it's still the same theme, as you can see.
We've got CW's here someplace too.
And she has the wonderful paranormal aspect to hers with the ghost and the
toucan,
and the wonderful, the wonderful toucan that just is
which
a delightful character.
I don't know if you know, Richard, but actually Rob and I are paranormal investigators, real ones, but we've never had to fight any monsters.
No. Or Canadian ones.
Caleb Pirtle said, great line, George, the re-in-characterization.
Well, I'm glad you said
and
it.
Linda Pirtle said, one citizen we've got to add a bail bondsman. The town really needs one.
Nobody gets out of jail, Linda. They all die.
And Caleb, let's see, where'd Caleb go? The only point of interest in Magnolia Bluff is the cemetery.
Everybody goes there once.
I actually like to hang out in the cemeteries. And Joe Conjal says, the toucan is a great character in Cindy's book.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
It's the main character in Cindy's book.
Important.
Yes, an important character. And plus, come on, the great peanut butter conspiracy. You guys have besides great covers, you have great titles. I mean, really.
Yeah, everything's so creative. It's awesome. I love it.
Yes.
So,
Robert White said, isn't red tape a monster? Yeah. Yeah, I guess we have had to fight some monsters. I just meant no paranormal ones.
So James, I'm going to start you guys out, each one of you, and put you on the spot just a little bit, not much. What's next for James Callan on your drawing board?
Really on the drawing board, it's actually a shift to the Crystal Moore suspense books. The last two books I've done have been Father Franco, so I'm going to go back to Crystal Moore. I like Crystal Moore because of some of the other characters in there, which adds a lot of humor into it, Richard. I get a lot more humor into those books. Not much humor in this one. And that will probably be next. Whether she visits Magnolia Bluff is a good question. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that right now. I would say one other thing, by the way. This could never happen without Zoom or something similar for us to get together, all of the authors, to discuss these things. Because if you think about authors who have strong minds because they're writing books and getting them to agree about things, just picking out that picture that you were talking about of the boat on the sand, it took a little while to agree on that. But the nice thing about it is no yelling, no screaming. Everybody was very nice and polite. Probably Caleb's influence. He's a fairly laid-back person.
Peacemaker, yeah.
But it has been very challenging, but very interesting. Very interesting.
That's good. So, Richard, how about you? What's next on the agenda for you?
I have a bit of a strange project that a friend is encouraging me to do, which is I want to cough and say fiction, but something on home distilling, which may be a hobby of mine. And I'm joking about it. It's obviously in a bit of a legal gray area, but it's a very common hobby where I live. And I've noticed that there's not a lot of really good books on it. And a lot of the ones that are out there are either overly technical or pretty boring. So I'm going to try and put something together that maybe introduces people, to a safe way of doing what's a pretty, fun hobby.
I love it. Great.
Bathtub gin?
Well, it's. I think my wife would say that, but I like it.
Okay.
Roxy and Charles.
Rox and Charles, how about you guys? What's next for you guys?
So we have a couple of things going on. We have the Enigma series, which is 12 books strong, and we've really kind of decided that we're going to stop that specific series per se, and start the next generation, because the characters in our series have grown up and they've matured, and the next generation we kind of brought up briefly in book 12, and we want to take them forward. And I didn't want a book 13. I refused. And then we have our short stories, of course, that we will continue with. We have a couple of those coming out this year, but the next big novel will be coming out hopefully in January, February is where we're targeting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Can we just put up the emails for everybody again?
We can do that.
We're just going to put up all of the emails.
One more time here.
Here's James.
Here's James.
His is now, if you want his book, you can email him at jamesrcallan@gmail.com to try and win one. You can do that tonight for an ebook. Okay.
For Richard
Schwindt is rgschwindt@gmail.com, and Schwindt is SCHWINDT. And then for Brakefield and Burkey email, there's authors@enigmaseries.com. Okay.
There we go. I want to thank all four of you guys, all three screens.
Three books.
Sorry about that.
4 people.
Yeah, well, look at us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're really looking forward to reading your books as well.
Yeah.
And I think everybody else is too, really hanging on them coming out. So we're going to move you over to the side now, and you guys stay right where you're at. Whoop, and there you go. Next week, let's see, we have on July 27th, Wednesday, July 27th, author Frank Ruffalo. He's a science fiction and crime fiction author who's got quite a few books to talk about, and that should be good. That's going to be live. We already talked about Episode Rewind on Saturday, Adam Gaffin. And then coming October 5th is the next part to the Magnolia Bluff reveal, part 3. and we're going to be featuring Linda Pirtle, Kelly Marshall, and Jinx Schwartz. And their books come out in October, November, and December, respectively. So we're going to see them October 5th. So.
And Joe Conjal says, great show tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And thank you to all of our guests. It's been a lot of fun. All of you tune in again next week, same time, same channel, whichever channel you're on.
That's right.
Rob and Joe, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks
for having us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
for being
Very
here.
nice.
Thanks for all your
Thank
hard
you.
work. And until next time.
That's all, folks.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-TV.com.